my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I am wearing one of my fancy booktube hats, and today I am doing a tag video. This is the third of my friend Reija's series of hopeful book tags, except this one is the hopeful Booktuber tag as opposed to a hopeful book tag. Reija created this tag back in October. I will link their original video down below, as well as the videos where I did their previous two hopeful book tags. I am doing this tag now because it is starting to be summer weather, and I am a warm weather creature. I have marinated in the sun a couple of days now, and I'm starting to feel a glimmer of hope. This tag has 4 questions and 4 questions only, but they are a little bit open-ended. The first is, hope means different things to different people. How do you define hope? So I did think of my answer to this in advance, so I'm going to be concise. Whether it is personal hope for oneself and one's own life, or a greater societal hope for the future of the world. Hope to me is a belief in the future. It's a belief that the future, either your own or the future of the world, is worth hanging in there for, worth fighting for, worth trying to make better for yourself and others. For me, hope only really happens if you can envision that future. And that future that you're envisioning may or may not be realistic, but it's the act of envisioning that future to begin with, and envisioning how we could get there, that generates hope. Question number 2. As a content creator, how does hope and hopefulness manifest in your content? Well, I'm still making videos after 7 years of all of this. I think that's pretty hopeful of me to begin with. Do you ask for more? I will tell you though, I find it very hard to motivate myself to make content for YouTube or elsewhere if I am not feeling that personal hope in my heart, in my own life, for whatever reason. And it's not necessarily hope that my channel is gonna grow exponentially overnight. It is sort of this spillover from my personal life where I need to have some excess bubbling hope in my hope pot for me to believe that doing this on YouTube is worthwhile. So honestly, I don't know how to answer the question if hope manifests it in the content of my content, but I do know that when I sit down to talk to the camera, to film a video for you all, you are seeing a more hopeful version of me. You are getting a version of me that fundamentally thinks that this is a worthwhile endeavor in some way. And that takes a little bit of ego, maybe more than a little bit of ego, to think the internet must hear my opinions on the books that I have read. A little bit of ego, a little bit of self-confidence, but definitely also a little bit of hope that, something I might say might reach you somehow through the screen. That you might pick up a book that I recommend and it might change your life. That me talking to you in this very limited capacity is somehow a thing worth doing, even at the limited audience size that my channel has. Yeah, that is a hopeful act to begin with, I think. Question number 3, is there a book genre that you most associate with hopeful narratives? If yes, why is that? So I have become, over the years, pretty much a single genre reader. I am an SFF reader, and I could explain the reasons why I believe that SFF is a very hopeful genre, or at least it can be, because you can do almost anything with this genre. But I'm going to take the question in a slightly different direction, because books for younger readers are not a genre. Middle grade is not a genre. YA is not a genre. But when I pick up a middle grade book or a YA book, I have certain expectations that those will be in some way hopeful narratives for younger readers. And it's one of the things that I feel is a defining quality of really great middle grade or YA, is that in an age-appropriate way and a thematically appropriate way, because those books can have a wide range of different themes, some of them very heavy, those books have a sort of responsibility to younger readers to provide them with some sort of pathway to hope. Not to mention the fact that I think that writing for younger readers must fundamentally be an act of hope, because you believe in the younger generations and their potential, and that's a fundamentally hopeful outlook. I think if I were ever to read a book that was marketed as YA or middle grade, and I were to find it to be so nihilistic that there was no hopeful outlook, I would seriously question the publishing decision to market that to younger readers. And then the fourth and final question is recommend 3 books or stories with themes of hope and resistance, bonus points if they're new releases. These, I am not fast at reading new releases, but they're all close enough for me. I think the oldest of these was a 2021 release, and that's Light from Uncommon Stars by Ryka Aoki. This was a Hugo nominee last year. It is a standalone science fantasy novel about a trans girl violin prodigy and her 2 sort of adult mentor figures, one of whom comes from the fantasy novel side of things and the other of whom comes from the science fiction novel side of things. This is a book that can be difficult to read at times because it is unflinching about some of the struggles and challenges and hardships that its protagonist has faced and continues to face throughout the book. But it's also about finding joy and happiness and a new creative way forward. This is also a book that I think really ties that idea of personal hope to a greater idea of more than society-wide hope, like galaxy-wide hope, because there's an interplanetary civilization going on here, but it operates on both of those levels. Next is Nettle and Bone by T. Kinfisher, also a book that starts in a very dark place, in a place of kind of hopelessness against much more powerful people and powerful forces. The protagonist in this one finds her way to overcoming those obstacles by recruiting a group of allies, each of whom brings something to the table. Anyways, this is a book about a quest to murder a horrible, abusive prince, and spoilers, he does get murdered. And then the third book I want to recommend is The Red Scholar's Wake by Aliette de Bodard, which is the first full-length novel in the Juye universe that is a Vietnamese-inspired space opera universe. This is a lesbian space pirate romance novel about 2 ultimately very idealistic characters who have to work really hard to see eye to eye. There is a whole pirate society in this, and these 2 have all of these arguments about exactly what about this is ethical or not ethical, and how it compares to the abuses of non-pirate society. Anyways, any book where you prevent future catastrophe, fix pirate society, and fall in love, that's gotta be pretty hopeful, right? So that is it. That is the Hopeful Booktuber tag. Thank you to Reija for creating this tag. Anyhow, I hope you all have a wonderful day. That is all. Bye for now.